Hello, I want to welcome you to our online course, Music 102, World Music Cultures. I'm Dr. Kammerer, and when we need to communicate, my students here on campus often call me Dr. K, for you to be less things, less letters to type on your keyboards, so feel free to refer to me as Dr. K. I want to start out by talking about William Shakespeare's quote from Romeo and Juliet, "What's in a name?" And I want to use that to just introduce you to what World Music Cultures is. World Music Cultures is really a sampling of musical styles from around the world, representative cultures from around the world. We'll talk a little bit more about what that means. We will look at some specific geocultural areas or regions of the modern world. And within those, we'll look at some representative musical genres. Now, if you've never heard that word genre before, we'll talk a little bit about what that is. Many of you have heard that term, I'm sure, originally a French term, and it refers to a category of artistic work. And so I've given you a few examples here from different arts. From literature, you may have heard of historical novels, romance novels, mystery novels. In movies or cinema, you may have heard of adventure films, comedy, drama, biopic about a famous person like Ray Charles. Recently there was a movie called Ray. And in America, something we call the chick flick, where the women enjoy the romantic comedies. Examples in music that you might be familiar with: reggae, R&B, or rhythm and blues, hip-hop, classical music, alternative, emo, and then some examples of music from around the world. We have flamenco from Spain, Celtic music from Ireland and Scotland, Bhangra, which is a type of popular music from India, reggaeton, I think many of you have heard of, from Jamaica and the Caribbean. So when we talk about genres in this class, it is particular styles of music. So, what does world music cultures mean? What's in that name, to paraphrase Shakespeare? First of all, when we're talking about the world, of course, in a one-semester course or a 15 or 30 module course, you won't be able to talk about all the cultures of all the world. So we'll look at some representative genres from representative geocultural areas. And I'll get more specific about that as we go along. Now, that's the world part. The music part will be more fully defined as we go through today's discussion, so I'll just leave that one as a mystery for right now. When we talk about cultures, we talk about a couple of different ways of defining what a culture is. One is the beliefs, customs, practices, and social behavior of a particular nation or a particular group of people, or we can consider it to be a group of people who share beliefs and practices identify the particular place, class, or time to which they belong. Or, one more way of looking at that, a particular set of attitudes that characterizes a group of people. And when I approach this class and approach the concept of cultures, I'm kind of blending those three different definitions. Now, just so you have an idea of the representative geocultural regions that are in this course, or covered in this course, we will look at some and listen to some of the music of Polynesia and the Pacific Islands. And even then, we won't be able to discuss every Polynesian cultural group. You'll find out more about that as we go through. Some cultures of West Africa, some cultures of North America, specifically some African American styles, which will show us some very interesting things about how cultures blend their music and their artistic expressions. We'll look at South Asia. We'll look at island Southeast Asia, specifically Indonesia there. East Asia, specifically China. And Latin America, which is a very diverse area. And we'll look at South America, some areas of South America, and some areas of the Caribbean. Now, to get a little bit more specific about the cultural groups represented in this course, when we are studying Polynesia, which we consider to be our host culture here at BYU Hawaii, we will, of course, study the music of Hawaii, also the Cook Islands, Tahiti, which is part of French Polynesia, Samoa, Tonga, And then when we move to West Africa, we will look at the cultures of Ghana and neighboring nations in West Africa. Then we'll go across the Atlantic to look at some African American styles and how they're derived by a combination of those West African styles and some European genres from America. We'll move into India, followed by Indonesia, China, as I mentioned before. When we go to the Latin America area, if you're not familiar with that term, it refers to Central, South America, Spanish-speaking America, Portuguese, Brazil, as you can see there, Cuba, Ecuador, and Argentina.